Alrighty, welcome back to another Way Brothers video. Today we are going to be learning how to play a little card game called Doomlings. This game is going live on Kickstarter on March 2nd, and I will leave the link to that Kickstarter in the description for this video. Okay, in this game we have age cards, and then we have our catastrophe cards. And you're going to make 3 different piles. Each of these piles has 3 age cards and 1 catastrophe card. And you're going to shuffle these piles individually, and then once you've shuffled them all individually, stack them on top of each other. Do not shuffle this deck once you stack them, because you don't want to end up with like all the catastrophes at the top. This game ends when the 3rd catastrophe is flipped, and so that's why it's important that you stack them in that order, because you don't want to end up with all those catastrophes on the top of the deck. Then go ahead and throw the Birth of Life card on top of that stack and deal out 5 cards to each player. Now, on your turn, all you're going to do is play 1 card and then draw back up to whatever your hand size is, or as it's called in this game, your gene pool size. This card right here determines what your gene pool size is. So it's going to start at 5 at the beginning of the game because you start with 5 cards. And then it can go up or it can go down, all the way down to 1, all the way up to 8, depending on certain cards that you play. So you're going to take a look at your cards, play 1, and then either draw up or discard down to whatever your gene pool size is supposed to be. And then play will continue around clockwise. Whoever deals will flip the top card of the Ages deck over. The first one's just the Birth of Life, says +5 gene pool, which is what you start at, and then you play a card and stabilize. That's what drawing back to your hand size is called in this game. And so each person will play 1 card and then stabilize, and then the dealer will flip the next card, and you'll do whatever it says. And these will have some sort of condition that could be good or bad. Usually it's restrictive, and everyone has to follow that condition for the rest of the round. When you get to a catastrophe, which will be at least 1 every 4 cards, there we go. When a catastrophe happens, you immediately switch, you immediately rotate, and now the person to the left of the dealer will be dealing, and the person to their left will be starting. So every time you flip over a catastrophe, you're going to rotate. Catastrophes almost always decrease your gene pool, and then they'll have some other condition that you have to do before your turn on that round. And when we get to the final catastrophe, wherever it is, could be anywhere in the last 4 cards, you will do the minus gene pool, you'll do this condition, and you'll do whatever it says for the world's end. That's the yellow. You won't do that on the other catastrophes, you'll just do it on the last one. And as soon as this card is flipped, you follow all those conditions and then the game ends immediately. Nobody gets any more turns. A lot of these cards have actions. If they have that little A sign on them, like a little video game button, that is an action. And some of them just have a trait. I mean, these are called trait cards, and some of them have their own little constant ability, like that right there. It's not an action, it's just an ability. So when you play these cards out, those abilities are activated. The bottom left corner of the cards is what the value of the card is, the point value. Person with the most points at the end of the game is going to win. There are cards that are dominant cards, like this one here. They're a little shinier and they say dominant at the top right there, dominant. You can only have 2 of those in play. So you'll be playing all these cards down in front of you. Some of these cards will let you steal cards from other people or swap cards. Sometimes you have to discard. The colors are important as well, the colors of the cards you're playing, because a lot of cards will give you points for having cards of the same color, or it'll give you points for cards of colors that other people have. One little rule to note is that if you are stealing a card from someone, you don't get to do the action. You still get whatever the effect of the card is, like right here. Value of this is equal to the size of your gene pool. So if you stole this card from someone, you would get that ability. But if you stole this card from someone that has an action, you would not get to do the action. You only get the effects, not the actions when you steal a card. Also, it is possible in this game for you to have 0 cards going into your turn. At the end of every turn, you are going to stabilize, but you can lose cards before your next turn. So if you start your turn with 0 cards, you get to draw 3 cards, but then you have to skip your turn. And like I said, the game is over when this 3rd and final catastrophe card is flipped. You do everything on the card, including the -1 gene pool and all that, and then you go through and you count the points on your cards. You will get points for some of the text on some of these cards, and you will always get points for whatever that bottom left number is. In the case of a tie, so let's say you and someone else each get 21 points. If that happens, the way that you determine the winner is you each flip over the top card, and whoever wins in that case wins the game. And if you're still tied, flip another card until somebody is the definite winner. And that is the game, folks. This game plays 2 to 6 players and generally plays in about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how many people are playing and the experience level of each player. But it doesn't take that long to get a hang of, so I would say usually about 15 to 20 minutes a game.